Welcome back for True Colors, Chapter 11. After a slow start to their courtship and many hurdles to overcome, Michael and Cassie are finally heading down the aisle, or better yet, to the Great Falls, the perfect place for them to join their lives together. Let's join them there. True Colors, Chapter 11. Michael came at 11 o'clock, accompanied by Reverend Magnus, his wife, and their daughter Rebecca. We drove to the falls, stopping in a small grassy clearing surrounded by huge trees lush with the green mantle befitting the first day of summer. Although it was warm, I wore a cloak about me, partly to hide my bridal appearance from townfolk, and partly to hide it from Michael, until the moment for the ceremony came. My dress had been worn by my mother at her wedding and had been preserved from the fire in a steel trunk in the cellar of the farmhouse. Made of ivory cotton, 3 lace flounces cascaded down the skirt. A ribbon and lace-trimmed banded collar topped a delicate sheer V yoke. Lace gloves and ivory satin shoes completed the ensemble. It was old-fashioned, to be sure, my mother having worn it in 1835, but was elegant nonetheless. After we chose the perfect spot in which to exchange our vows, Mrs. Magnus helped me remove my cloak and arrange my dress. Rebecca helped me secure the ivory lace veil over my pinned-up chestnut hair. Michael, appearing apprehensive but exceptionally handsome in his finest dress uniform, was speaking with Reverend Magnus. His eyes shifted and saw me for the first time in my wedding dress. His speech cut off. "Your saber is rattling, Major," the preacher told him, smiling. Michael's fingers flew to the hand guard to steady the sword. "You're not nervous, are you?" In all truth, I was, until just now. He walked toward me, removed his hat, and held out his arm. We walked together to face Reverend Magnus. "We are gathered together here in the sight of God and these witnesses." The ceremony was simple despite its significance. The minister reminded us of Paul's words to the Corinthians, that our love must beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Then he charged us from Ephesians chapter 5. "Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church, and gave himself for it. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. And the wife see that she reverence her husband." We exchanged vows, promising to love and comfort one another, forsaking all others, keeping the other only unto ourselves, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do us part. Michael surprised me by placing a shiny gold band on my finger. I cherished it, for I knew it could not remain there long, in plain view. We were pronounced man and wife. Michael placed his arms around me. There, in a small clearing amidst towering trees, with these few witnesses looking on, with the sound of the great falls reaching our ears, Michael repeated the words he had spoken when he proposed. "You, Cassie, alone among women, have I loved." He lifted my veil and kissed me. After an extended show of gratitude to the Magnuses for their time, their help, and their vow of secrecy, Michael and I returned forthwith to our Washington home. He didn't carry me across the threshold. One never knew when roving eyes would be upon us. He locked the door and drew the parlor drapes, then turned to me. "Welcome home, Mrs. Byron." My heart filled with joy. I remember the first time I heard another woman called by that name. I hardly knew you, yet it came as a blow to think you belonged to someone else. "I belong to you alone, my love, my wife." He walked to me, unfastened the hook at the neck of my cloak, and removed it. "I've never seen you look more beautiful, Cassie. I've never seen anyone look so beautiful." I removed my gloves and draped them over the back of a chair. He reached behind my head and began to remove the pins from the thick tufts of wavy hair. "I like it down." I looked into his bold and sensual blue eyes. "I know." He fondled the ends of my long hair and arranged it as he liked it. His fingers caressed my shoulders, then followed the lace ruffle that descended into a V along the yoke of my wedding dress. He shuddered, and I was more than mildly aware of the desires he had long quelled in order to safeguard my virtue and remain faithful to our God. How truly wonderful it was to not have to remind him of the hour. How equally wonderful to not hear him sigh and say, "I'd better go." I slipped my arms around his neck. He swept me into his arms and carried me toward the staircase. "I've been waiting for what seems like an eon for you, Cassie. Nothing in my life has been more difficult, but nothing has been more worth it. I love you." He kissed me firmly, even as we ascended the staircase. Halfway up, he halted at the sound of a sharp rap on the front door. "Oh, no," he groaned. "Be very quiet until whoever it is goes away." But the knocker was persistent. After 5 times, we figured the visitor must know Michael was home and intended to remain until he had stated his business. Michael set me down, removed his dress blues tunic, and combed his hair with his fingers. I returned to the living room, placed my cloak about me, and scooped up the gloves from the chair. Remembering my wedding band, I slipped it off my finger. When we were as reconstructed as we could make ourselves, Michael answered the door. "Sorry to disturb you, Major, but I bear an urgent message." "What is it, Lieutenant?" "May I come in, sir?" Michael reluctantly stepped aside. The officer entered, and upon seeing me, removed his hat. "You remember my fiancée, don't you, Lieutenant Brown?" "Of course. It's nice to see you again, Miss Golden." "And you, Lieutenant?" "What is the message, Lieutenant?" The man glanced again at Michael, seemingly reluctant to speak. "If this is confidential, I can wait in another room," I offered. "Not exactly confidential, ma'am. In fact, I guess it's best you're here. I just wish I wasn't the one to have to—" Michael looked at him with increasing impatience. "Have to what?" "Your orders have been changed, Major. You're pulling out within the hour." A cavernous void formed within me. "What did you say?" Michael's voice was slow and demanding. "I'm really sorry, Major. You too, Miss Golden. But I'm to see to it that you're on your way out of Washington 45 minutes from now. You'll be issued the proper civilian clothing and all your papers must be in order. So we gotta get started now." Michael stepped toward the officer, who quickly retrieved an envelope from an inside pocket and presented it to Michael. He snatched it, tore it open, and began to read. His shoulders drooped. Then he looked at me with despair in his eyes. All the joy, the anticipation, the desire of a few moments ago were vanquished. His eyes turned on the messenger. 2 hours, Lieutenant. Give me just 2 hours." The man looked pained in saying, "I'm sorry, Major." The 2 officers now stood toe-to-toe. The tiny muscles of Michael's jaw tightened in desperate advocacy. 1 hour, please. Tell them you couldn't find me. Say, if it was up to me, sir." He lowered his eyes, looking grieved by the need to be unwavering in this present assignment. "I'll saddle your horse for you. We must leave here in 5 minutes." He closed the door behind him. Michael and I stood a room apart, our eyes locked. It was me who found the strength to go to him. "Cassie, I meant to show you where my important papers and other particulars are. Now there's no time. Look through my desk. Everything is in order in case I pressed my fingers to his lips. We embraced for several minutes, neither wanting to let go, neither believing it could happen this way. 3 light taps on the door. "Dear God, please, not yet." He cupped my face in his hands. "The Lord watch between me and thee when we are absent one from another." 3 more knocks, more forceful this time. After one last, lingering kiss, he brushed my tear-stained cheek with his thumb.
You, Cassie, alone among women. I sat alone on what was to have been our marriage bed. Michael's bedroom, our bedroom, was the loneliest spot on earth. He had taken great pains to make it perfect for the consummation of our marriage. 5-foot brass candlesticks holding large white candles, candles that would now go unlit, stood at each corner of the 4-poster bed. 2 vases of lilacs set at each end of the dresser, their fragrance permeating the room. There was a bottle of champagne and 2 long-stemmed glasses on the nightstand. The bedspread had been turned down, and there was a single white rose resting on one of the pillows. All this he had prepared for me, his bride. As my wedding dress had been a secret to him, this bridal suite had been a secret to me. I had seen the delight he took in beholding me in my wedding dress. He was denied the satisfaction of witnessing the thrill that took hold of me upon entering this room. I sat on the bed and felt of the soft sheets. I fondled the rose and drew deep of its essence. I imagined us lying together on this bed, finally free to make our love complete. It was all so unfair. We were to have had precious little time as it was. I opened the hand that still concealed my wedding ring. Holding it up close, I noticed for the first time the inscription inside. Tears formed and fell as I read the tiny letters. Many waters cannot quench love. 6/21/62.
The perfect start to their day and to their marriage just ruptured abruptly. Their marriage is on pause before it even had a chance to get started. Let's follow them next time as they're living without each other, yet sustaining a love that many waters cannot quench. I'd appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe and share these videos. See you next time.